So now we move forward to check about the cockroaches. So one sec. Right. So cockroaches are very common household insects, breeding mostly in the connecting manholes and sewers. They extend their activities to kitchen, cupboards, and wardrobes. They eat and spoil food, paper, and clothes. They are also suspected to be carriers of certain viral diseases, including possibly of cancer-causing virus. Okay. So spraying DDT and other insecticides in the breeding places is an effective method of control. So we see that cockroaches are again, the household, you find them very commonly, and they are going to move around in the places, especially the kitchen wherein the food is being stored. So because they are in the kitchen, therefore they spreading the virus is very easy, because they spread the virus on the food, and the food what we intake is automatically infected. So that's why the cockroaches should be controlled by using some kind of insecticide like DDT, or spraying DDT or insecticide in the breeding places. The next are rats. Rats are serious domestic pests. Besides eating grains and other food, they also spread germs of certain diseases. Rat flea is a parasite which lives on the rat's skin. It may carry germs of plague. Plague had spread as a serious epidemic during the earlier part of the 20th century in many parts of the world, killing a number of people. Rats should be trapped and disposed of or killed by suitable rat poison. So rats, the main problem is that they eat away the grains, and they are the carriers of many diseases. So being the carriers of the diseases, in fact there was also an epidemic caused by them named plague, which was also, and also they have got parasite, the carriers of parasite called a rat flea. So there are many diseases which are caused by the rats. So rats again becomes important kind of a pesticide or pest for the which needs to be taken care of. So yeah, we can trap them, or we can and dispose them of later on, or we can kill them by certain rat poison. So these were the mosquitoes, and these were the different carriers and the vectors. Now we come about the contamination of water and waterborne diseases. So now we are seeing the water and the waterborne diseases. Contamination means unwanted entry of disease germs into drinking water or edible food. So when any kind of contamination takes place, or any kind of impurities or pathogens enter into the food or water, then we say that the water food has got contaminated. So, and that would cause waterborne or foodborne diseases. Clean and germ-free drinking water is very essential for personal and public health. Okay. Contamination of potable drinking water can occur in several ways, such as sewage, if improperly disposed of, leaks into the subsoil and may contaminate water supplies. People defecating and urinating near lakes, rivers, or ponds may contribute to contamination of the water. Animal waste and washing of dairy, poultry, etc. may also be drained into the water bodies. So you can see that there are many activities which in our day-to-day life could cause the water contamination. First thing is that if the sewage which is there from our houses is not proper, then there is a chances that it would leak out, and the leakage would enter into the soil, and those places where the soil, that is underground water, is being used for the day-to-day purposes, there it could cause a very big problem, because it would contaminate the underwater storage of the groundwater storage of that particular place. Similarly, the urinating or defecating near the lakes and the rivers also would cause the same thing. Even cleaning of the dairies and poultry falls, and that particular waste going into the water body will also cause contamination of the water. Besides the above principal sources of contamination, there are a variety of industrial and agricultural waste that may contain poisonous chemicals and can be harmful to human health. For example, Industrial waste contains mercury, causes abnormality in the nervous system. So there are so many industrial waste. Like many time it happens that there is an industry very much next to a water body, like a lake or a river or a stream, and what they do is that whatever is the industry doing, that particular waste of the water is being drained into the water body. So that will cause harm, because that industrial waste may contain many times mercury and such kind of contamination, which are abnormalities, which will cause abnormalities to the nervous system. Tannery waste, that is the leather industry. Tannery means leather industry. The leather industry contains the pathogen Anthrax bacilli and are most serious water pollutants. So yeah, to generate or to dry off the skin of that particular leather, of that particular animal, they use a bacteria called anthrax, and that is very poisonous, and it is going to have a serious water pollution problem due to that particular anthrax water entering into the water body. Pesticides, especially DDT, are most serious water pollutants. Pesticides concentration in human cause hormonal imbalance leading to cancer. Now, even we say that okay, to control the pathogens we are spraying DDT now, but DDT also, when you spray in farms, in the agricultural farms, what is going to happen, that extra thing, and when you are going to spray water on it, the water whichever is excess is going to drain out into the water body. So that water which is going into the drains will contain certain amount of DDT also. That's the reason that will be a problem for the human consumption of water. So it would cause hormonal imbalance and lead to cancer. Presence of fluorides in drinking water causes tooth disorder, bone disorder, and higher concentration it causes neural muscular disorders and may be fatal to life. So even fluorides, if at all is present in the water, would cause not only the teeth problem but also bone disorders, and in higher concentration it could also be fatal. The three common waterborne diseases are, in case of water supply agencies are not very cautious, then the residents of the area may suffer from three common diseases which are waterborne diseases. First is cholera, typhoid and dysentery, which may take form in the severe epidemic. So first is cholera. You have already read about little about the cholera and disease caused by bacteria. The main points are as follows. So first is infection of intestinal tract by Bacillo vibrio cholera. So we had already done the disease chapter in which we learned about cholera, but in short we are going to see this thing. It appears as a sudden onset of sickness and severe diarrhea and vomiting. Okay, it is going to give you severe diarrhea and vomiting. Next is no urination due to shortage of water in the body. Urea accumulates in the blood, which is highly poisonous and causes death. So yeah, we understood this way, that because in cholera the person is suffering from vomiting and diarrhea, that's why he loses his water from the body and he gets dehydrated. Due to the dehydration, he will not be able to urinate, and because there is no excess water present in the body, and that's why, because he's not urinating, the nitrogenous base in his body are going to remain in the body and cause poison. So that's why the formation of urea in the body will be very dangerous. So that's why the cholera is very causes death also. Infection of cholera occurs through contaminated water, but also by dust and flies that sit on excreta and may transfer germs to exposed food. Food handlers with dirty hands can also transmit the germs. The next is dysentery. There are two forms of dysentery, bacillary and amoebic. Bacillary dysentery, the causative agent is the bacterium Shigella. It occurs frequently among children. The disease is marked by loose motions, diarrhea, intestinal pain and mild fever. So normally it happens in children where they have a severe stomach ache and they have got loose motions, intestinal pain. Patients are treated with antibiotics. Prevention includes drinking safe boiled water and avoiding flies from contaminating the food. So that is dysentery, bacillary. Another is amoebic dysentery. The causative agent is the Entamoeba histolytica, which we studied in the disease chapter. This organism enters our body through contaminated water and food. It establishes it in the lining of the large intestine, where it feeds by engulfing red blood cells of the patient's intestine. This amoeba has no contractile vacuoles and bears one large blunt pseudopodium. So these ones are the ones which are going to enter into the lining of the large intestine and are going to kill, or you can say the engulf the red blood cells of the intestine, and there it is going to, because of the deficiency of the red blood cells over there, there will be deficiency of the oxygen for that area, and it would cause the disease to the person. When fully matured, it forms cysts which pass out through feces. The cyst remains active for a long time. On reaching a new host through contaminated water and food, they split off to, if infect new individuals. So yeah, these are these contaminated, this fully matured form of amoebic dysentery, the histelica, and amoeba histelica is going to be forming a his cyst, that is a kind of a globule, and that is going to be coming out from the feces of the patient. And when these globules come in contact with other person by some kind of a water contamination or food contamination by the flies or anything, they are going to spread to the other people. The next is hepatitis. There are three kinds of hepatitis. The name hepatitis refers to liver, that is hepato, that is liver, and meaning inflammation of the liver. So inflammation of the liver is the main thing what happens during hepatitis. There are three types of hepatitis. Hepatitis A is the infectious hepatitis transmitted through contaminated water. So hepatitis A is the one which is going to be transmitted from one person to another person with the help of contaminated water. The other two types, hepatitis B and C, are passed through blood and other body fluids. So the B and C are not through contaminated water or food, but they are going to be transferred when the body fluid is going to transfer from one person to another person, like when they are going for blood transfusions or such kind of a surgical thing which is taking place. At that time, the possibility of hepatitis B and C transferring from one person to another person takes place. Now the symptoms of hepatitis are, there is a body ache, there is a full body pain, eyes yellow, eyes become yellowish, so the white part becomes yellowish, and deep yellow urine due to bile pigment. So because the intestine is, the liver has been affected, so the bile pigments will start coming out in the form of a urine. So urine will contain a good amount of bile pigment, and that's why the urine will have a deep yellow color. And there will be an enlarged liver. You can say inflammation of the liver, so the liver will enlarge. There will be a swelling on that will enlarge liver. Prevention is hepatitis vaccine. Yeah, you can take the hepatitis vaccine. There are vaccines available for hepatitis A, B, and C. So there you can have the vaccines for hepatitis. Proper hygiene. Yeah, the main thing is if the hygiene is maintained, you are not allowing the contamination of the water, not contamination of the food. So automatically you are saving yourself from diseases like hepatitis. And lastly is avoiding taking fat rich substances. So that is the next prevention, is fat rich substances, which is going to affect the liver. So that is the one which you need to avoid. So avoid taking fat rich substances will automatically help you to avoid hepatitis in your body. So this was about the chapter hygiene, very easy and not so important also, because there are hardly any questions asked in the boards. But yes, you can go through them, and as such, anything you write over here will be much more like general knowledge rather than a learning point of view. So yeah, I would call this much more of a general knowledge kind of a chapter rather than learning kind of a chapter. Yes, certain important things like the how to control the house flies, and that such kind of questions can be asked. So you need to know the points, as they said, what are the different points wherein how you can control the house flies or mosquitoes, or even the symptoms in case of cholera and dysentery. So that is the only thing which is important in this chapter. So that was the chapter hygiene for you.